Yo, what is poppin' YouTube fam? Alright, today I have one of the most amazing, informative videos I've ever posted probably. Like, it's just popping out of this one, right? Okay, so, get all my I was out walking around a little bit, yo. Okay, so today I'm gonna talk about frequency, music, shapes, geometry, all that stuff, right? What I realized today, guys, was that when you have this like experience, this like awakening, this enlightenment, right, after doing this work on yourself, you literally can pick apart bullshit. Like, when you hear something that's true or not true, you know. And that makes like the whole world of information completely different, because you're not wondering if what you're hearing is true anymore, because you know when it resonates with you that it is true, right? So I was channeling, I was meditating today, and I was really trying to pick up on the intention I put out to receive back was, what analogies can I use? What things can I use to bring this completely ununderstandable knowledge into very understandable terms, right? Because that's what a good teacher can do, right? A good teacher can take something that's kind of hard, kind of complex, and bring it down to like very understandable terms, right? So here we go. All right, what I want to first start off with is Nikola Tesla is a genius, and he was God realized. He was self-God realized. He was well aware that he was a creator, that he was part of God, and that he could tap into this energetic field around him at any time, the Akash, some people call it, and get information from it, which is what this is really. It's the realization and the belief that's so strong, and the understanding that's so strong. For me, it was just through all the guided synchronicities and all the guided information that literally came to me invisibly. Nobody taught me any of this stuff. It was all done invisibly, and it's amazing because I want to talk about how these religious books can be. It was a very simple thing that was shown to me today, but it is one of the biggest. It brought me to tears when I had this realization of how I could explain this, okay? So the very fundamental one thing that exists is light, period. The creator is consciousness, and this consciousness expresses itself through light, through like a light language, like light codes, right? And I know that we think that our brains are responsible for our thoughts, and basically our thoughts, whatever they may be, right? And I think we're maybe giving ourselves too much credit, because when I was channeling today, I believe that Nikola Tesla is not Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla is a human being, but what Nikola Tesla was getting was the information from this Akash that I was tapping into today, right? The same exact thing. And here's what I was told, all right? And I've never said this before because I never thought about it before, because it's not information that's in my head. It's something I literally pulled out of the ether and brought into 3D to explain to you guys in a way that you might understand, that might help. I'm gonna clean this off real quick. Yo, bingo. Okay, so imagine that you're like a radio, okay? When you turn on the radio, you don't think that somebody's in the radio talking to you. Excuse me. You know that there's an antenna, and that antenna is picking up radio waves, right? Okay, so imagine that we are just big radios, each one of us, and our brain is like a tuning crystal, okay? And this radio, our whole life, has all these signals coming, bombarding it, but you can only hear the one you're turned into. It doesn't mean the other ones go away. They're all still coming, you can tap into all of them still, but really, you're only tapped into one at a time, so it's not chaotic, right? Now, when we are not completely under the, when we go to church, or when we go to school or we go to any of these institutions that kind of take our imagination and fill it with their own ideas and that aren't ours, right? When we're using that state of mind that we're separate from whatever created us, we are using our minds, we're using our human thoughts, we're using our human ideas and our human understandings. We have our left and right hemisphere, right? The left is logic and like the right is more creative and abstract, right? So I put this note up here, and it's like a radio with a brain on one side and a heart on the other, and a dial, right? And if you think about like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, right? Snow White is literally asleep, and that would stand for like unconscious. Like that would stand for like unaware of the true godly nature that she has, right? And all these dwarfs equal a human trait that everybody has, right? Like whether it's happy, dopey, sleepy, grumpy, whatever, right? And your whole life you're using the frequencies and you're tuning into stations that are all based on the physical mind, right? They're all based on things that you've learned, imprints you've gotten, right? And temptations you have, desires you have, whether you have an addiction or whether you're into like fast food or into sugary food or whatever it is you're into. It's usually because the physical body craves it or gets some sort of satisfaction from it, right? And that's fine because our perception isn't really that high, you know, right away. You gotta kind of learn and discover and fail and get back up and have these realizations before you can get this ultimate perception as the creator is trying to get to know itself, because that's what this is, guys. We are all the creator, literally, because it's like fractals. If you look at like a spiral, right, and it could be as big as a galaxy, right, all the way down to a small little seashell. That one fractal, like if we had one soul being one, and we took one little part of that light and put that light inside of a human, that one little light would be no different than the whole single thing, right? So if you took an ocean of water and you took one drop out of it, it would have the same awareness, the same capabilities, the same potential as that whole body of water. And then once that drop of water goes back in the ocean, it's reconnected to all of it and it is the whole ocean again, right? So as we are learning, we are kind of tuning in to the heart more and more. And why I say the heart, guys, is because the heart is the strongest organ. It's the biggest. It has the most magnetic projecting field of all of them. This is why the Egyptians would throw away the mind, the brain, and they would keep the heart in the mummies, right? Because they knew how important the heart was, because the heart is literally what connects up into the ether and what connects us to everyone else, right? When somebody walks into a room with you and they're really upset and they're not really showing it on their face, but you can feel it. It's that heart connecting to you, right? Almost like if you wanted to imagine that we're all in this oxygen, right? We're all standing in this room, but it's full of oxygen. It seems like there's space, but if we wanted to pretend it was something thicker, like let's pretend this whole room was just full of thick water and we're all underwater, right? And our hearts connect like an umbilical cord to each and every single person. And when they have a certain emotion, you can feel that come off of them just like they can feel it come off of you. And the more we get in tune with our hearts and with the creator and with what the actual nature of the creator is, the more that it can come through and we can connect to everybody and be the people that we're supposed to be, instead of having all of our thoughts come from human desires and human ego and wanting to validate ourselves and give value and be above somebody else or step on someone else, right? So we're constantly tuning these dials, and